Assalamu alaikum. Debit and credit. These are the two most common used words in a business environment, more specifically in accounting. Today in this video, we are going to learn what are debits and credits and what are the debit-credit rules. In accounting, we use the double entry bookkeeping system in order to know about the source and destination of a transaction, which means for something to be debited, there must be something to be credited, and vice versa. It is just like the law of conservation of energy, which stated energy cannot be destroyed, rather converted into another form. So keeping that concept in mind, we must debit or credit a transaction for two variables which are affected by that transaction. For example, for cash to be entered in a business in a company in a business environment, there must be something to be credited for that cash, for example owner's equity or liability, where that came from. In order to understand debit and credit rules, first we must know that neither debit nor credit is good or bad. They are not like adding or subtracting. It is just used to reflect the double-sided nature of a transaction. In an organization, money comes from something or someone, which means a source, and then that money goes into the company's operations into something, which means the destination. The source is called credit and the destination is called debit. Recalling the accounting equation, assets is equal to liabilities plus owner's equity. Assets are what the business invests in, means the destination, so they are debited. Liabilities are where the investment comes from, means the source, so they are credited. Owner's equity, on the other hand, is a little tricky. Owner's equity is composed of owner's capital minus dividend payout plus retained earnings, and retained earning is equal to revenues minus expenses. So put in that owner's equity equation, we put the retained earning equation in the owner's equity. We get owner's equity is equal to owner's capital minus dividend payout plus revenues minus expenses. Again, owner's capital and revenues are where the money come from, so it will be credited, and expenses and dividend payouts are what the business pay, so it will be debited. By putting the owner's equity equation in the accounting equation, we get assets is equal to liabilities plus owner's capital minus dividend payout plus revenues minus expenses. Don't worry, by rearranging, we will get dividend plus expenses plus assets equal to liabilities plus owner's equity plus revenues. As we can see, this forms a word. By extracting the first word from each of the element, we get the word dealer. This word dealer we can use to remember the debit and credit sides. Debit for the left hand side and credit for the right hand side. Increase in the left hand side will always be debited and decrease will always be credited. Similarly, increase in the right hand side will be credited and decrease in the right hand side will be debited, because these are the debit and credit sides. Increase in the left side will debited and increase in the right side will be credited. Now it will be easier to understand the debit credit rules, which are increase in assets will be debited, decrease in assets will be credited. Increase in liabilities will be credited, decrease in liability will be debited. Increase in owner's capital will be credited, decrease in owner's capital will be debited. Expenses will always be debited and revenues will always be credited. Thank you for watching. I will really appreciate if you subscribe if you already haven't. Also in the description I have provided the notes so you can consult from that. See you in the next one.